Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I'm finally here.
Yeah.
I didn't see the session. It didn't show. I don't know what happened.
But they have to ask for permission. Who is the moderator in this session? Are you the moderator?
No. Patrick said it was either you or him.
I didn't know who about this. I saw the moderator here, and it's nobody of us. And there are 9 people. No, there's nobody watching us right now. So let me see.
Because at the beginning, no sé por qué estamos hablando en inglés. En las sesiones no me salía esto. Acaba de aparecer, pero hay una más que dice moderated o algo así. ¿No se habrán ido ahí?
No sé, pero así es. Y nadie nos está viendo ahorita. Es más, es raro. Ah, ya, sí, ya sale now. 3 people. Alguien nos está viendo. Hello, 5 people. So I don't know.
Hello.
Okay, I'm leaving. I don't know who is actually the presenter. You know,
Mohammed.
So Mohammed should be joining. So let's see.
There was another session, so it might be a little bit confusing.
Okay.
I can hang out here until everybody joins. People, hi everyone. Don't go anywhere. We're just arranging few details to begin with the session. So it'll be nice to have everyone participate. Hey, Rach.
Hi, Wendy. Yeah, everyone is coming over.
All right.
Oh, there you are. Tanya, I can see you in the chat. Rumi.
Oh.
She's coming.
There she is. Yeah. Tanya, perfect. You think Louisa should be here too?
So the session is actually live right now and it's recording. So just know that, I mean, you're on. If anyone comes in, they'll be watching it right now. There's 12 people currently watching and there's 5 people on camera, including me. So let's give it a second. Heidi should be in here somewhere. Heidi's doing, there's May. That's great.
Hi, May. Hi, Sarah.
And Tanya did come in, but her, oh yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
Share my video. Tried it.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Okay. أنا بالعامل.
Let's see.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Maybe we are waiting for another 2 or 3 people. So I don't know if we can wait for another 2 minutes before that we start our workshop.
I would try to wait for just Louisa.
Okay.
She was definitely here, but you can just chat with people. May is here. So you'll have 5 at least, and there's someone else lost in the conference.
Okay. Thank you very much. Right. Let's start. I'm going to share my screen. هلا هي مشيرة السكرين ولا لا؟ Okay. Okay. First of all, welcome you in this, let's say, seminar, which is managed by Ibtikar for Empowerment and Social Entrepreneurship. Here, they are my colleagues. We have Sulaiman, she is the manager of Ibtikar. And we have also another 2 guys who are trying to support us in the technicalities because we have a lot of problems. Our workshop for today is called GLOCAL. which means that we need to think locally and act globally. And you know, this is something which was inspired from the theme of our conference, because when I got the first call from Patrick and we were discussing, you know, let's say the life during COVID-19 and how we are expecting the life after COVID-19, I mentioned clearly that I'm in love with COVID-19. Why? Because you are here. Why? Because this is the first time, you know, that I wide my connections. I have a network of more people, and I can, you know, communicate my needs and also hear to the others. And this is the main objective of this workshop, that we need to communicate. We need to use our own experience in order to influence the others. And here I mean the global decision makers. But let's go through our workshop. You know, this is something that I like so much. It was said by Michael Jordan. You must expect great things of yourself before you can do them. And I think that this is the main slogan of our workshop for today. But please do your best to believe in yourself, because I know that you believe in yourself, but do your best. I'm sorry for maybe it's not the right word, but do your best in order to use the maximum effort that you have to share, because what you are going to share will be reflected positively on the future of our globe. Before that we start our workshop, you will get in the chat room a link for Mentimeter, and you need to answer this question. What words come to mind after hearing this word, COVID-19? And if you would like to this, you can go to menti.com and use the code which is written here, 99050407, or you will get a link from my colleague Sulaiman.
Yes, there.
Okay. You have two options. It means that you can put two words, if you would like, in which that you can describe COVID-19. What do you feel exactly when you hear the word COVID-19?
Just to be clear, Mohammed, you want people to click the link and then enter a word in.
Yes, actually, and there is, you know, a code in the top of the page, which is 9904072.
And Mohammed, do you mind if other participants also put the word in?
Yes, this is, you know, this is the objective, that maybe the people who are observing us can do the same thing as we are doing.
Excellent.
What's the code? Sorry, it says login or
It's 99
sign up.
04072.
Can I type that in? 990472.
بين شيء حدا جاوب؟ المشكلة عشان أنا اللينك عندي أصلا. Okay. Let's see. يا عبد إذا داخل عندي بتقدر تشير اللينك تاعه من عندك. ما بتقدرش تشير صحيح. Okay.
And Media from Afghanistan has arrived. Media, please turn on your camera. So that was our last participant. 21 people are watching.
Log in with Facebook. I think that there is a technical problem because, you know, I'm not using my laptop.
But no problem. We can solve this by hearing from each and every one of you. What do you think of having that said instead of being written?
You can just type their word in the, maybe type your word in the chat for the session, everyone.
You know, now it's working, Pandemic, isolation. please do your best to be to answer the question and to write 2 words that describe, let's say, your feelings and what, you know, how you react when you hear COVID-19. Okay. You know, we got one answer. I don't know if it's working or not, but the idea is to go to the link and to write 2 words that come to your mind after hearing COVID-19. I don't know if it's very clear here. It's very...
Just so everybody knows, there is real-time English captioning that's happening. And if you are interested in following along with that captioning, there's a link that's pinned up to the top of the session chat. And that is where you can find the English captioning. So thank you, Heidi, for making sure that we're all aware of that. And it's also now at the bottom of the chat as well, the link in order to get to the captioning. Yeah, Cass, I think that we're mostly just typing into the chat box here rather than using the Mentimeter link.
Okay, no problem. It means that we can move to the next exercise in our workshop. You know, the idea is to, the idea behind, you know, using Mentimeter or Menti.com is, you know, to interact with all the participants of this workshop and even also the observers. So let's go to
I'm wondering.
Okay.
I got the screen share going still, but let's see.
Okay. Actually, you know, we are going now to start our workshop, and we have different guests who are coming from different countries. And we have Beatrice. You know, I cannot see the people in the chat room. I don't know if Beatrice is there. If Beatrice is there, we just need from her to answer the following, or to reflect on the following 3 questions. What are my goals as a change maker for the next 6 months? How can I work with others to respond to COVID-19? And how can the community of the Global 2020 support me in reaching my goals? If Beatrice is not there, maybe we can go for another volunteer who can help us to reflect on this question. Each one of us have maximum 5 minutes in order to reflect or even answer these questions. If Beatrice is not here, we have Terry. Okay, if Terry is not here, we have Wendy, if I'm not mistaken. She is here.
See.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here I go. Okay, thank you. So what are my goals as a change maker for the next 6 months? Well, actually, I think my first goal is to get my organization back on its feet because it's been a very hard year for us. And these 6 months are very important for us to, you know, adapt ourselves to the new normality and come up with some innovations. So that's one goal. How can I work with others to respond to COVID-19? Well, I think being part of this conference is one way to do it, and talk to different organizations to work together, collaborate, and come up with something new. I see the pandemic, it's been terrible for us, but it's also an opportunity to do something different, and to actually change things, but for better results, and have new ideas that we didn't thought about before. So that will be my answer for that. And the last one, how can the community of the Global 2020 support me in reaching my goals? Wow, this is something that's, I have really big expectations, to meet everyone, and to explore different ways. We know next year is going to be still tough for everyone because things are very slow right now, but we can use technology and this type of connections to work together with maybe virtual things and start building new things. So when we're ready to travel again, then we can work together and connect with different countries that we didn't have connections before. So it'll be great for everyone to really meet each other and get together and talk to everyone so we can make those connections.
I hope so, Wendy. Thank you very much. Can we move now to Luisa?
Yeah. Well, for the first question, that my what?
What are your goals? Yes.
Yeah, my goal. Well, I am architect and I am engineer in renewable energy. So I think that zero hungry is a bigger goal that I have. And the form that I can help is in the schools, planting gardens or using them to learn about the agriculture, the environment. And for the COVID, it's important because we know that we need to have a good nutrition and to be healthy from this virus.
Mm-hmm.
And the next, how can I work with others? Well, I think that I take care myself and yourself, and use the mask, respect the distance, yeah, and with the neighbors, maybe made a conscience that they need to use the mask and respect the sanity instructions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how the community of Global support me for research my goals. I think that you can help me teach us or connecting with volunteers that that people that know how make like gardens, like I don't know.
Thank you very much, Luisa. I like so much your ideas and your inputs, because really we need to invest more in, let's say, in agriculture and environment, and we need also to plant a lot of trees in order to make our life more fresher and fresher. Let's move to Titasha. Yes, she is here.
Yes, yeah. Titi Shaya, that's my whole name. Does anyone hear me very good, right?
We can hear you.
So I go.
Yes.
Okay. So I go by May, and maker. So right now I am working as program coordinator. So I hope like in 6 months I could like connect people. Right now I kind of connect people like to know each other. Like I connect teacher and a student. So I hope I can like kind of connect people from around the world and work together. This is what I hope for like in my 6 months. I hope. So I'm still new in the job, so I hope I can do better in like making people to work together. And how can I work with others to respond to COVID-19? So I would say my work is like kind of talk to people and connect people to each other. So right now I always like ask people like, okay, how you like kind of support, like mentally support. That's what like pretty much I can do, because I know like a lot of people may feel kind of stressed like to be at home or with other situations. So I try to support people by asking and let them know that I am here. So like we are not in the same place, but we are facing the same situation. And how can the community of the global support me in reaching my goals? As I say, I hope like I get to know more people and we can work together and connect together as like a community. Yeah, that's all about
I
it.
like so much your vision, which is about connecting people, because without connecting people, we cannot work together and we cannot achieve what we are looking for. Please keep the spirit, because this is really what we need for now and the future. Let's move to another guest here, which is Rachel. Who is Rachel?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
So let's see. The first question are, what are my goals as a change maker in the next 6 months? So my organization has just recently decided that we're really going to use the next 6 months to not do our programming as normal, and to use this opportunity to be a lot more strategic and to tackle a lot of our big projects that we just never have time to do. I was talking to somebody recently who was sharing, like, we're always all caught up in this whirlwind and we just have to keep going, and there's never time to pause, take a step back and say, what are we actually doing right now, and how can we achieve our goals? And so we're going to use the next 6 months to do that, to really take a step back and say, what are our big goals as an organization, and are they different than what we maybe thought they were? Should they be different? And how can we be really intentional in moving those goals forward in a way that we're just not able to do when we're so concentrated on movement and helping people go places. So we're really going to try and take this opportunity to put an intentional kind of pause on things and say, what do we want to do, and how can we do it better than we've been doing it? Which is a little scary, but it's also a little exciting.
I can imagine.
Yeah, definitely. And how can I work with others to respond? I think that's a great question. I think COVID automatically makes me at least feel more insular, that my world has shrunk and that I can't connect with as many people. Or and I think there's some of us here that are in Oregon or on the west coast of the United States, and right now it's really smoky outside. So like, we can't go outside, we can't be inside, and it just makes me feel like my world is really small sometimes. So I think that this question is just great to reflect on and realize that there are so many ways that we can connect with others. And again, I think when we're caught up in that whirlwind and we're just checking the boxes and doing the next thing that we need to do, it's hard to think outside of the box and think about, who can I connect with? How can I form new partnerships? And so I'm really looking forward to this time to actually connect with others and think about how our organization can support more students in different at different universities in different cities in a way that we just haven't been able to do before, because we're so busy putting one foot in front of the other to do what we normally do. So I'm looking forward to connecting with others to see how it can, you know, mutually benefit other organizations and more participants.
You know, it seems to me that connection is the key word here. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and so then the last question is, sorry, I have to get close so I can read it as a community. You know, this has already been a really great opportunity for me to connect with individuals through Global 2020. And I'm looking forward to meeting people at this conference, to connecting, as you said, that's the key word, right? But also I think what's really important is to be able to continue those connections and to put some intention behind what do I want out of these connections, and not just, oh, it's so great to meet this nice person, they do this interesting thing, but to continue those conversations moving forward and not just have it be, you know, oh, we connected at that conference but that was it. So thinking about how we can keep moving forward rather than just connecting once.
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you especially that you bring this point to our discussion, that how we can continue our conversations. Really, this is one of the main questions that we need to highlight as a part of this conference. Let's move to another person or guest. Taria? I'm sorry.
Tanya.
Tanya. I'm sorry, I don't have you here. Maybe you can introduce yourself, that you are come originally, and you can answer. The floor is yours, and you can answer the 3 questions, or share with us, let's say, your reflection on these 3 questions.
Good morning, everyone. As you can see, that's not my picture. I will send my picture added to the presentation, but indeed it is a pleasure to be here today. So let's get right into the questions. What are my goals as a change maker for the next 6 months? When the question was asked, one word to describe COVID, I answered revamp and pivot, because those 2 words seem to stand out as a result of the pandemic. So it gives us the opportunity, I think Rachel or Louisa made reference to it, to reconsider what you've already been doing, to re-strategize, to really get creative. So things that worked last year at the same time may not necessarily work now. So it pushes us to get creative, getting creative with our messaging. As Louisa had mentioned, you know, encouraging persons, being that forefront person to encourage those with who you have influence over to do better in terms of the public health measures, to do better in everything we do. Being creative, being the utmost. So for my business as well, we find it necessary to develop other product lines, to find out where there are gaps for various businesses, for various communities, finding out how to get products and services delivered to them in a more effective manner. So this is that opportunity for us to help those who need help. For example, we know that I'm now going to intertwine with the second question. How do we work with others to respond to COVID? Some of the things that we have been engaged in, or for the mental health aspect, because as we know, this pandemic has brought upon many other issues, including the depression, including anxiety and domestic violence. So using this time to get more involved with the community, being that listening ear, that lending, that arm to lean on for persons in the community who may not be able to access certain services. Maybe it's an opportunity for you, for those in the rural areas. If you have access to those persons, you can now be that person to bridge the gap. So to bring someone there, or find a way that you can engage the community to, you know, to relieve some of that stress. So to be able to be a benefit to the families. We also did this during the pandemic, is that we took one day and we went and we assisted those in the orphanages, the elderly homes, because oftentimes we don't think about these vulnerable populations that also need health services. We also partnered with a local public health agency here to help with the translation of languages, to assist those persons who also need that we call the mental health psychosocial support services. So it takes us, it just really takes it causes us to reflect and to think, how can we work with these persons? What is it that they need? How are we able to give back to them? Because yes, businesses are made for a profit, but at the end of the day, what real impact are we having on the community? So we have to remember that now. It's more being our brother's keeper. And as I mentioned, getting creative, providing those services, providing those products. Let's help to heal our world. And how can the community of Global 22 support me in reaching my goals? Again, going back to what Rachel alluded to about the connections. For me, it's just not meeting persons and that's it. Let's look at it let's look at the longevity of it all. Let's find out how we can really partner. This exchange is a wonderful experience. It's a stepping stone. So where do we go next? There are best practices that we can share that maybe I may not have thought of, but each of our experiences, each of our backgrounds allow us to have this discussion that is fruitful and productive and can help us to really be the change makers that we are. And that's my little 5 cents.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Where are you from?
I'm from Nassau, Bahamas.
Thank you very much. Actually, I like so much what you mentioned about healing people, and what also I'd like, to call it is accompanying people, during COVID and even after COVID-19. And this is really a challenge. It's one of the main challenges that we are facing everywhere in our world. Thank you very much for your inputs. They are highly appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Let's move to another guest. Okay. If we don't have other guests that they would like, to share with us their inputs, maybe we can move to the next part of our workshop. I have enjoyed so much your reflections. I think that, they are very important, and also they are connected with the situation that all of us live in our world, and even the challenges that we face. For the second part of our workshop, we are going to share lessons learned. It means that all the time when we are talking about COVID-19, people try, to highlight, let's say, the negative side of the experience. I know that it's very heavy. I know that the people are suffering everywhere. I know that it has its impact in different sectors. But at the same time, I'm sure that we have also a lot of successful stories that we can share. And the most important thing, if we are going to share these successful stories, to focus so much on the lessons learned and the good practices. The floor is yours. You have 15 minutes. You can get in, share your story, and provide us with these successes and highlight the main lessons learned. Who would like to start?
Add a few things in regards to lessons learned. What I would start with saying is be open, because oftentimes we already have our mindset that this is the way it should be and we need to follow these rules and these guidelines, or my business does this and we're only going to do this. But sometimes this creates an opportunity, as the word I saw. I think Wendy used it in the chat. Be open, because you don't know what's going to come out of it and how you can be a benefit to your community. I'll give an example, and also to explore your talents. Use your talents. Be open. For example, this decorator that I know, he designs weddings, all those elaborate occasions. And during this situation, I try not to call it the pandemic all the time. So during this situation, the challenge, he found out that he was able to be a benefit to his family by becoming a carpenter. He used his talents that he used for his weddings and his experiences there. And he has had so many sales by using his hands, using his talents, creating headboards and bureaus and things of that nature. So sometimes we have to look within ourselves and to really find out what are our other talents, what are the other gifts, and also find out what resources do you have around you, whether it's in your family, What do you have access to? When you take the opportunity to reflect, and even when you do your research as well, because that always helps, you can always find different ways to really bring those thoughts together. You come up with your plan. You can get how we're having this exchange today, get ideas, get best practices, and find out how you are able to service a market of some sort. So be open and use your talents. They're my two inputs.
Very much, Shani. I like so much this idea because also it's, let's say, a journey for rediscovering our creativity and talents. We need to benefit from this opportunity. I would like to ask Rachel about, because you mentioned this several times while you were reflecting on the 3 questions, connection. What do you think as, let's say, best learned lessons from what we have as a communication process, what we are using as tools, and do you think that our communication is much better than before? Rachel, can you hear us? Yes?
Oh, there she is in the chat.
Oh, she looks like she just disappeared.
Maybe we can move to Wendy because I didn't. Sulaiman told me that you were trying to share us something. The floor is yours, Wendy.
I'm back now.
There's Rachel. She's back.
Sorry, every once in a while I lose it, but I'm back. But I did hear your question. So I think around connection, one thing that I'm finding is that I do think in some ways our communication is better than before. I think people are more willing to be open to conversations that they might not have been open to before, or are making more time for conversations and collaboration and connection. One thing I've really appreciated Tanya's perspective on providing support for your community. And I find that a lot of other organizations are, when I'm having conversations with them, are just being so wonderful to say like, oh, as you're doing that, please let me know if there's any way that, we can support or can collaborate. And I think that's really exciting that people, I think, are just more open to this idea of collaboration. And I feel like in some ways, my organization has kind of been in a little bit of a holding pattern over the last few months of trying to see exactly what we were going to do and how we were going to pivot. And so we've been a little quiet because we've kind of just been, not wanting to put too many feelers out before we actually were decided on what the path was going to be. And so I'm really looking forward to jumping deeper into those connections now and finding ways to pick up the phone and actually talk to people. I have to admit that sometimes I'm a little fatigued by Zoom calls. I feel like I spend so much time on my computer, more than I ever have before. But one thing that I've really enjoyed doing when possible is actually getting on the phone or a WhatsApp call and going for a walk in my neighborhood. And so I'm like getting out and I'm moving, but I'm still making connections in a way that is also taking away some of that screen time that is feeling a little overwhelming to me sometimes, but still is allowing for that intentional connection and gets me outside and moving, which can be really nice. So that is a tip I would share is take a phone call and go for a walk and move the body a little bit too, because the virtual world is an amazing way for all of us to connect, but it definitely is more time on the computer than I'm accustomed to.
Mm-hmm. No, I do agree with you. Okay, Wendy, do you like to share with us something about, let's say, some learned lessons, some new things that reflect the positivity of our world?
Sure. Well, sometimes it's hard to see the bright side of it all because, it's been tough for us. Like my organization is committed to like cultural exchange for youth people. So for example, this year, nobody was able to travel anywhere. So that was, very, very tough news for us. But the good thing and what's positive is that, you know, even with the changes we've had, I've seen, like, it's been a time where I could see that the results of a lot of work, you know, from many years, and that is reflected in having so many, like, former participants volunteering for us, you know, helping us around with everything, you know, with everything that had to be done. For example, just a few days ago, they organized this, they called it open camp, because we work a lot with, like, American summer camps. And so we had a bunch of students who couldn't travel this year, right? So they made this sort of like sessions, like online sessions, to share about their stories and about their experiences and travel tips and everything, you know. So and they organized everything, and like they are showing others, you know, other students, that they do care, that they want to contribute because they learned something, they had an opportunity, and they just want to give it back, you know, give it back to the community. And so that was so meaningful for us, and for me especially, because, like, I didn't expect them, you know, to organize such thing. And then the second thing is that I didn't expect to listen to those stories, and they were like life-changing stories. And it was very rewarding for us to know that, you know, that we've been part of that. And you know, we're just, I don't know, it was the first time I wasn't like the one like leading and organizing everything, but it was them. So they were the result of so much work, and it makes you think that it's really worth it. And through this time, they've been so much help for us. So that's one thing, you know, that I think this is why connections are important, you know, before and now, and they will always be important, because we're not alone. And I think as you know, we connect with other people or other organizations, and if we are genuine about, you know, providing support and everything, it's always going to come back to you. So I think that's very important, and this is a good experience, and this is a really good opportunity for us to keep on, I don't know what's the word in English, maybe seeding, like, I don't know, sembrar, Rachel, you know? So it's like watering.
Planting seeds?
Like planting seeds, yeah, and of relationships, you know, and keeping everyone like together, but like you mean it, no, not just a connection, like, oh, I know someone somewhere, but, you know, being able to really support someone. And for example, right now, we are also getting support from an organization in Peru. So they did all the branding for, like, a new branding for our organization. And they're helping us with our communications team, which are all volunteers. And so, you know, it's great to have those, you know, opportunities. And we wouldn't have done that, or we wouldn't have that in our lives or in our organizations if it wasn't because of the COVID, right? So yeah, so the lesson is, like, connections matter, I think, as much as you make them matter and you're genuine about those relationships.
Thank you very much, Wendy. Let me, you know, use this opportunity to ask my colleague Sulaima. She is a young Palestinian woman who lives in a country which is still under occupation. Sulaima, can you share with us, how do you feel about COVID-19 in general in Palestine? What are the main and learned lessons that you come up with, and how you can communicate also these lessons to the others as you live here in Palestine?
You very much for this question, although we didn't plan it, but it's okay. So as Mohammed said, yes, here it's a bit controversial, the situation in Palestine. We're not living under the situation that everyone else is living. It's a bit extraordinary here in all terms. When it comes to the occupation, when it comes to our local government, when it comes to the situation and the educational, the health care system. It's all different from what's happening all over the world, and that's what's making the experience a bit different. For us, frankly speaking, from the perspective of Ibtikar, our organization, let me start. The idea was that we were standing on a threshold. We were having the choice of shutting down all the activities, or we had the chance of recapping everything, holding our power back, and put our energy back together and start to implement all our intervention using this virtual world. And this is exactly what we did. And I got the energy to start over from my colleagues here in Ibtikar. They are the ones who inspired all the process of reprogramming everything and trying to provide our Palestinian people, and even try regionally and internationally. And this is one of the opportunities that we are participating in. For me, it's a result of what my colleagues planned for last February. So for me, it was a very much, I know it's not easy to describe it as a positive experience, but for me, it was a bit of a positive experience. And that's why, you know, I can highly relate to the efforts and to the type of intimacy, if I can call it this way, that I received from my colleagues here. And also, I started to appreciate more, similar to your point, Wendy, I started to appreciate more the personal relationships with people. I started to realize that it's not only about knowing people, but it's also about establishing that humanitarian type of relationship with everyone, because I was then sure that whenever I contact anyone, or whenever I received a message from anyone who's saying, how are you, what are you doing these days, is everything okay, I started to actually feel the meaning of this and how important it is for me, and how I should also pass this to the people I know, regardless of the relationship type or relationship stage. So for me, all in all, I can say that it was, although not easy to describe it as positive, but it was a positive 6 months till now. And let's hope that it will continue or start to be the same for everyone else. And for me, let's hope more that we will get rid of this pandemic as soon as possible. Thank you, Mohammed.
Actually, I surprised you with the question, but you have surprised me with your answer. It's always like this, you know. The Palestinian women are very strong, by the way. I recommend them. Tasha, if you would like to share with us, because you know you mentioned also as Rachel a lot of things about, you know, your goal, which is about connecting people and working with people in order to change the whole situation. But if you would like to share with us something about, you know, this experience that all of us are living, and what are the main best or learned lessons? Can you hear me, Titacha? Hi.
Could you repeat your questions again, please?
You mentioned, you know, when or to reflect on the questions, the same point highlighted by Rachel, you know, working with people in order to change the whole situation. I don't know if you can share with us some learned lessons, especially during the last 6 or 7 months, that they are still influenced, and maybe they will have also an impact on the upcoming months.
Was yes, I just couldn't hear that quite. You got cut off a lot. Cut up tight the questions in the chat. It would be good. Oh, just repeat it again if you don't mind.
Okay, Tikacha, the question is about, you know, some learned lessons that was, especially after living this experience. I mean, the COVID-19 experience. If you would like to share with us something.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so okay, Patrick just say I mentioned about connection. Yes, obviously. So to be honest, okay. Oh,
Hey, everybody. May will come back in. I just see that she dropped off. I would like to just take a second to, first of all, thank you, Mohammed. This is a complex situation, and thank you to all of you for participating in this interesting thing. We have just a few more minutes, and May will come right back. I wanted to also mention that Media from Afghanistan, she's a 15-year-old girl who is also going to participate in this. She's here, but she hasn't been able to turn on her camera and audio. So she's been saying, how do I get in? How do I get in? So hi, Media. We know you're here. And if you can press a blue button, I think it should be on your screen somewhere. We might be able to get your thoughts too. But May will be back in just a couple of seconds, and I'm going to leave it back to you and get back off the screen. But after this, immediately after this session, the networking on the side will pop open and it will say now. And the cool thing about that is that we can all have one-on-one conversations. So we're going to right after this to go to the networking, and you'll be matched with someone in the conference. There's 23 people watching right now and 34 people in the conference altogether. They'll go over there and you'll get matched with somebody and you can have a little conversation one-on-one with them. So that's pretty neat. And look, May's back now, so I'm going to go off screen.
I'm sorry. So okay, I will say real quick because something happened. So yes, to be honest. So does anyone hear me? Right? Okay. Somehow I couldn't hear anyone, but whatever. So last year I was in the States before, and like a lot of things happened to me, and then I just came back this year. And as you know, like Thailand, we have had the COVID since like last December, like kind of a few countries in Asia that COVID happened, and we used to be kind of top 3 that have a lot of like people who got COVID, but now we like the situation get better, and then I just get a job like kind of 2 or 3 months ago, and yeah, like you mentioned, I think Rachel, you mentioned about like you have a lot of Zoom meetings or something like that, and it was my first time that I learned a lot of things about like
But
Zoom
you just
and
have 2
WhatsApp.
minutes, you know, do your best to use the 2 minutes because we need to
Okay.
or to give the chance to
Yeah, so
Luisa to share with us something.
yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
like I think like during COVID, I've talked to people more than my life I've talked to. So I think it's somehow like kind of I got to improve my introvert skill with like all the COVID and get to like connect to a lot of people right now. I'm here, like I haven't imagined that I'm gonna talk in English with a lot of people right here and right now.
Okay. You know, it means that COVID-19 also has its own, let's say, positive influence on our personal skills or professional ones. One of the, let's say, the positive side of this experience that all of us live. Louisa, do you have something that you would like to share with us, especially about this experience?
Yeah. Well, I think that the biggest lesson of this time is that to be empathic with others, because all of the people, all are in the same situation, like in the school, in the home, problems with money, and I think that is the big lesson to know that all of us it's in the same situation, and I don't think that all the things are bad, because I think that the time with the family in this time is so important.
Solidarity.
Sorry?
You know, the solidarity, I mean, because you are talking about, you know, the relationships between the members of the family. Go ahead.
I don't understand.
I'm so sorry for the interruption.
No, I don't understand you. Sorry.
It's okay,
Go ahead,
Louisa.
Louisa. It's okay.
Keep sharing. You can keep sharing,
Yes,
Louisa.
keep going.
Yeah, well, I think that it's important. And yeah, don't take the things for granted, like friends, like travels, and a lot of change in this situation. It's difficult, but exists more positive shows. So yeah, that's all.
Thank you very much, Louisa. Thank you very much for every one of you. And the last thing we need to do is to send some message to the global leaders. I mean, you know, the people who are hold positions at the governmental and national levels. What do you like to share with them? What do you like to send them as messages? They should be quick messages, but at the same time based on what we are living as experiences and the learning process that in order to change our reality and to head to tomorrow. If you have quick messages, please share them. We still have 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, are we going to share a message through the government or something like that?
You know, maybe you can send a message to the government, you can send a message to the, let's say, UN bodies, you can send a message to the international community. I don't know. This is, you know, something that should be based on the discussion that we have, or even the experience and the results of the experience that all of us live.
I think we need internet access for everyone.
Internet access. Thank you very much, Patrick. We need other messages. We still have 4 minutes.
I think my message would be that we can't do it alone, and that we are a global community, and that by turning inward and being insular, we're only hurting ourselves, and that connection is what is going to help us move forward.
Okay, all together and connection. Who would like also to share with us some quick messages to the internet community, to our leaders and our government?
To really build like different type of laws regarding environment and companies that, you know, produce like our industries, because something we've seen through the pandemic, it's like how bad we are as humans, you know, like contamination and all these kind of things. And through the pandemic, while everybody, you know, humans were inside and then like animals were outside, it was very shocking. And I think this is one of the things that governments need to take care of better.
Okay, thank you very much, Wendy. We need to change our consuming behaviors, which are affecting negatively our world. Who would like also to share quick messages?
I would actually encourage leaders to develop the markets within their countries more, and to find different ways that we can partner with other countries to help the development. Whether it's, if there's an example with the Bahamas, we may need help with agriculture, learning from another country, maybe the US, maybe Puerto Rico, using the information and sharing those best practice, and then finding out how we can improve trade between the countries. I think that would help. And piggybacking on what someone else mentioned about not being insular minded. There's no need for separation and division. It's all about us being one united community to make this world a better place.
Thank you very much, Tanya, that you bring this to our discussion, because we need really a new button, a new economic button that is based on equality and diversity. Thank you very much for this one. I don't know if you have other quick messages before that we close the session, which it's just 1 minute. We have some messages on the chat, but I don't know if we still have time in order to answer them, or we have to read them. But please do your best to go through the chat in order to get, the messages of the people. Okay.
And once we close, if everybody heads over to networking, we can all connect with each other one-on-one and have some smaller conversations. So as we close, head over to the networking button that's just underneath the sessions button.
And again, thank you.
Thank you very much, really.
Please notice that sometimes an extra tab opens on your screen. So try to mute yourself when you're not talking, or notice if there's another tab going that makes an echo sometimes. Sorry to be, like logistically oriented, but that will help you throughout the conference. This was this is amazing. We have Bolivia, we have the Bahamas, we have Mexico, we have the United States, we have Thailand, we have Palestine, all in the same room, and a bunch of other people watching. It's pretty cool. Like, it may not be perfect, but it's the world we live in. You can see over on the left-hand side, right now it says networking now. So if you want to be matched individually to somebody, just click right over there. And if you just want to talk or explore the booths, go to the welcome booth. Someone will be there to help you understand more about the conference. The next session is later on, 6 p.m. Portland time, and it will be about access to disability. For global exchange access for people with disabilities. It's going to be amazing. Justin Harford from MyUSO will be there. I'll see you all in a little bit. I'm going to go over to networking myself. Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Mohammed. Bye.